The Adidas Young 1 is a brand new silhouette based on the Falkendorf from the late 90s. As you'd expect, many sneaker brands are going all in on the dad shoe trend, which was arguably kicked off by the Yeezy 700. The Young 1 is Adidas' latest addition to their footwear lineup, and it couldn't have come at a better time because the dad shoe trend is in full effect. Featuring primarily nubuck, mesh, suede, and of course bright colors, the Young 1 fits in perfectly with a dad shoe aesthetic. Let's be honest, if this shoe had released 2 years ago during the Boost craze, most people wouldn't have even given it a second look. But with styles changing, this bulky, colorful silhouette sold out on the day of release. So the question that arises, is the sudden popularity of the Young 1 fleeting, or is it here to stay? Let's find out. What's up everybody, I'm Seth Fowler, and today I'm reviewing the Adidas Young 1. This is a shoe that I've actually been anticipating for a long time. I think the first colorway that I saw was the Dragon Ball Z colorway that's going to be released in August. I'm glad that this is the first colorway to drop because I like this one so much more. I've been really feeling the dad shoe trend. In fact, I even pre-ordered the Yeezy 700s, which a lot of you guys gave me crap for at the time, and now you guys love them, so no comment. But recently we've seen a lot of really great brand new dad shoe style silhouettes popping up, especially from Puma, who's been killing it recently. Obviously Adidas has had a couple Yeezy models in this style, like the 700 and the 500. The 500 I don't like so much, but it is what it is. But even with all the recent competition, I think the Young 1 is one of the strongest new dad shoe silhouettes to release this year. So without further ado, let's take a closer look at the Adidas Young 1. Right off the bat, one of the defining features of a dad shoe silhouette is sort of the crazy shapes utilized on the upper. This shoe is obviously no different. Even on just the toe box, you've got 3 different materials and 3 different colors. The base layer on the toe box is this tightly knit white mesh, which sort of pops up through holes around the toe. Just above that, you've got this sort of skeletal shaped white nubuck panel. And then on top of that, you've got this super organically shaped red suede. This suede panel is one of the most defining features on the shoe because the shape sort of hooks around on each side of the sneaker. In addition to that, the color of the suede is some of the most saturated red on the entire shoe. And that's one thing I find kind of interesting but also really like about the shoe. Even though there's red all over the sneaker, each panel has sort of a different shade. As you continue up the shoe, the red suede gets covered up by this sort of tannish gray nubuck panel. This nubuck panel actually wraps all the way around the shoe and actually houses the lace eyelets. Of course, because we're talking about the lace eyelets, we should talk about the laces. Weaving through the eyelets, you've got these soft, flat white laces. Just beneath the laces, you've got a separate tongue, which is primarily covered in a navy mesh. At the top of the tongue, you've got 2 pieces of nubuck, one in white, one in red. And in the center of that panel, you've got the Adidas Trefoil logo embroidered in navy. The back side of the tongue is covered in a plush navy sock liner. The rest of the sock liner is also covered in the same material, except this time around it's in a bright red. Like I mentioned earlier, this red isn't the same shade of red as pretty much any other red on the sneaker, which I actually really like. Rounding off the inside of the shoe, you've got a red insole with white Adidas branding on the heel. As for fit, the Adidas Young 1 does seem to fit true to size. It does fit relatively wide, which is great news for you wide footers, but for someone like me who has a narrow foot, it just kind of gives me a little bit more room. If you've never tried on a pair of Adidas Young 1s, which I guess that's kind of dumb to say because these did just come out, try to go down to your local sneaker store and try a pair on if they have any left. If they don't, I'd probably suggest going true to size. Continuing back on the shoe, you find another premium detail with this navy suede panel. Just behind that, you've got more mesh in navy, which is actually covered by the Adidas 3 stripes in red. I really like how Adidas incorporated the 3 stripes on this particular model. I think they blend in really nicely, and even though you know it's an Adidas sneaker, it doesn't like jump out at you. It's not screaming Adidas. With that being said, Adidas does usually do a really great job of keeping their branding subtle while still allowing you to know what the sneaker is. So I guess it's not that big of a deal, but I still really appreciated the way this looks. Outlining this navy panel, you've got another hit of nubuck in sort of this desaturated red. This panel actually wraps all the way around to the back of the shoe and has 2 cutouts in which you can see the navy mesh. Unlike a lot of sneakers recently, the heel doesn't have a pull tab, which I've got to be honest, I didn't really miss. Moving down the shoe, you get to your pretty heavily sculpted midsole. The midsole cushioning isn't anything special, it's just your regular EVA foam, so it doesn't feel incredible underfoot, but it definitely doesn't feel bad. Don't even think boost, it's not even close. The back half of the midsole comes in sort of this light tan, whereas the front half of the midsole comes in sort of a cream white. Finally, moving to the bottom of the sneaker, you've got this pretty interesting traction pattern, which kind of reminds me of a hiking outsole, I think. On the heel and on the forefoot of the shoe, you've got these black rubber panels. In the middle, you've got this X-shaped stiff navy torsion plate, and then rounding off the bottom, you've got these 2 red sort of lightning-shaped rubber accents that wrap up onto the toe. Overall, the Young 1 is a welcome addition to the Adidas family. Will this shoe ever be as popular as something like the Ultra Boost and become a staple in the Adidas lineup? Probably not, but I think it is a shoe that people will have a soft spot for a couple years. I personally love this sneaker. I think it's a really great everyday shoe. I'm not a huge fan of some of the other colorways that are upcoming, like the bright orange colorway that released with this colorway, and I think the purple sort of Dragon Ball Z colorway that's releasing in a couple months. Those aren't really my thing, but I think this combination of colors and just the overall aesthetic of the shoe is something that I really like. Also, I'm definitely looking forward to that white and tan colorway that's releasing in a couple months. I'm not sure exactly when, but definitely got to grab that pair. If you're looking to grab a pair of the Adidas Young 1s for yourself, they released last week for $130. Good news is, if you're trying to grab this colorway or the orange colorway, they probably will restock, and resale is pretty much non-existent. Or if you're not a huge fan of these colorways and you're willing to wait, there are definitely more colorways on the horizon. That pretty much wraps it up for the video today. I'd love to know your thoughts on the Adidas Young 1 and whether you're planning to grab a pair for yourself, so make sure to leave those comments in the comment section down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to head on over to my IGTV, which is also my Instagram, @RealSethFowler. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I'll see you all in the next one.